This economy sucks. Egg price. Trump's economy sucks. Biden's economy sucked. We gotta fix everything. Everything. You know, I was having a conversation the other day about the people who believe Trump is a Christian, which I've never heard him say he's a Christian. Never. Never heard Trump say, I believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Never heard him say that. But I think what that boils down to is people who claim to believe in Christ, claim Yeshua is their Lord and Savior. They just are using Trump because they think he'll further his agenda. And Trump is obviously using them to gain the presidency and stay out of prison. Because it's very clear, you know, if you've ever read any of Jesus's works, you know Trump don't represent him. And it's sad, you know, to think people who maybe have heard of Jesus and know what he was about would support a guy who does not love his enemy, who is not kind to children and the meek and the vulnerable, you know, would not give his enemy a jacket if they were cold, would not give them something to drink. It's just sad. People are that tricked. Like the most glaringly obvious thing, Trump does not believe in Jesus. And you know that because, you know, if you read parts of the Bible, it will tell you. It's not just to confess that Yeshua is your Lord and Savior, but once you do that, if you're true to that, your actions change. And that's how you know. Faith is when your belief meets action. Faith is not just saying something. Anyone can just say stuff. How you truly know if someone believes and has faith in Yeshua, it's because their actions tell you that. That's what Christians are. They're supposed to be little Christs. You know, that's why Rome, that's why we have Roman Catholics. Because Rome, the great empire, saw the writing on the wall and said, yo, we got to hijack this religion to keep power. And that's what they did. We're going to talk about how the economy sucks. Donald Trump thinking that iPhones are going to be made in America. China, retaliatory tariffs. But more importantly, China's issuing warnings to all of its citizens about traveling to the U.S. I've seen more travel advisories for people outside of the U.S. to not come here than I've seen for the U.S. to issue to other people. And even people in the U.S. are terrified to leave the U.S., thinking they might not get back in. And there's been stories, I reported on this a couple weeks ago, there was like a French scientist who flew into D.C. or somewhere on the East Coast, and they checked her phone. She had anti-Trump stuff on her phone. She had like made a social media post criticizing Trump, and they sent her back to the EU. Is that free speech? It's sad, man. Where are we at nowadays? Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I do news commentary. Newsmentary. Hassan just went live. I don't know if you watch Hassan. Hassan, very smart dude. I like how he does his show. I like that the first hour or so, he's just doing a catch-up, seeing what's good with you. What's going on with you guys? Anything new? What's happening in life? You get a raise? Joseph Math. Estonia? My goodness. What's it like, Joseph Math? I'm guessing Math is a very Estonian last name. Only thing I know about Estonia is that in, oh my God, what is that Pauly Shore movie? Ice Age, Encino Man. Only thing I know about Estonia is that in the movie Encino Man, I think that's where they said he was from, Estonia. What's it like in Estonia? What's a good Estonian dish? That's a cool word. Estonia. Estonia. Sounds ancient, you know? Good to have you here, Joseph. What's the weather like out in Estonia? So yeah, hit subscribe and notification bell. I am here in America, where they say it's the land of the free. But don't you dare think you can say what you want about anybody. Don't you dare think you can be who you want to be. Don't you dare think you could love who you want to love and marry who you want to marry. Don't you dare think that you would get health care paid for by your taxes. Don't you dare. Cold, snowy, and rainy. Ooh, Bandito. I have not watched the new Bill Burr special yet. Ooh, thank you, Bandito. I should watch the new Bill Burr special yet. I've heard good things. I didn't like Paper Tiger. I didn't like his last one. I started listening to Bill's podcast again to get some inspiration, but I want to catch one of those moments where he goes after the CEOs, which he does, which I like, which, he's playing to the audience. And the audience is everyone. I don't know many. Well, I know people that defend CEOs, but, I'd like to see those people at work. Because I know people even at my work that defend CEOs. They say stuff like, well, that's just the way it is. What are you going to do about it? And I'm like, yeah, but you're miserable. You complain about work. You complain long hours. Like, they have the complaints, but they still, something in them. And I think I realized, because I know people that, and I'm sure you know people too. This one is much better. Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, you hated his last special too. Yeah, I felt like, Bill Burr just, I don't know. Paper Tiger wasn't that good, and I feel like there was a lot of hype around it, and Dave Chappelle was releasing stuff at the same time, and Chappelle's stuff is usually fire. Chappelle on stage, I should say. Not on stage with Elon. Remember when Dave Chappelle brought Elon Musk out on stage? And everyone booed him. Welcome, Joseph. You subscribed. I thank you. I thank you very much. Bandito's family, welcome. Hey, what's up, Alyssa? Alyssa's fam. We got a big family here, and we keep growing every day. So please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. And that's crazy. So it's snowy, rainy, and cold in Estonia in April. How are the summers there, Joseph? I'm curious. I love learning new stuff. And to be honest, it sounds like New England. April in New England, it's been like 28 at night. It snowed 2 weekends ago. It was raining, and then the rain turned to snow. So I'm getting closer to surgery, and I got books for recovery. Good. You get some books. Did you get The Shock Doctrine? Get Negroes with Guns, The Shock Doctrine, any book by Abby Hoffman. I'm sure Bandito could probably recommend some good books too. And on our Discord, we have a Discord link below. Yes, in July, 25 Celsius, sun, but April is crazy weather. Yeah. Okay, so Joseph, Estonia sounds like New England. Where, in April, it's so funny because my wife's from everywhere, but mostly Southern California. And we've been living back in New England forever. And we'll have like a nice day at the end of March, early April. Like one nice 60-degree day, and she'll put all the winter stuff away, and then it will snow the next weekend, like it just did again this year. And I'll be like, how long do you have to live in New England to understand that, like, you can't put the winter jackets and winter blankets away until after Memorial Day? Like, once Memorial Day hits, hopefully there's going to be no more snow. Joseph, you know what's funny? I love that you guys do use the metric and the Celsius. I don't understand Celsius. And I wish I'd learned it. Because to me, does anybody know what is 0 degrees? Because Celsius sounds so crazy. Like, Joseph is saying that it's 25 degrees Celsius in July. But that sounds like, I couldn't even tell you. Doesn't sound that hot, but I'm sure it's sweltering. It's probably like 80, 90 degrees. But it's so weird. Some of the systems, like in the UK, where they measure people in stones, is it stones? Like, I weigh 20 stones, or whatever it is. Like, that's fucking cool. What's up, Mel? Good to see you. So, Joseph, I have no idea. I'm assuming 25 Celsius is hot. I just never understood, like, how do you know it's really cold if it only goes down to 0? you know, and hot is 25. Like, what are you like? Oh, it's freezing. It's 0. It's 1 Celsius. Well, of course it'd be 1 Celsius. But it's always just a weird measurement system when they're like, damn, sweltering out. It's 25. And you're like, and? I just love that stuff. It's so unique. I wish we did it here in America. Grasshopper, it sounds like a problem you need to deal with. Don't get on the plane. Do not get on the plane. And where is it called stones? Like 20 stone? I weigh 20 stone. Like a few years back, I had to look up quid, what quid meant. Because I watch all these like UK shows, and they'd be like, 20 quid. And I'd be like, is that 20 pounds? It turns out I think it's just slang. But it sounds so interesting. I love it. I just wish we used imperial measurement here. Oh, don't worry. We're going to probably, run on Bitcoin and Trump measurement. Donald's. Everybody's going to weigh 5 Donnies. You're going to get your Donnie bucks. Don't worry, Bandito. In a couple of years, everything's going to be Bitcoined and measured in Donnies. And if you're if you're real skinny, you'll be measured in Donnie Juniors. Oh, he's one Donnie. Everything's going to be effed soon. What do you think about government? Oh, I hate. The government is supposed to be services for people, right? You put your taxes in there. You elect people from allegedly your community to go and represent you that are supposed to benefit your society, your community. Hit subscribe, notification bell, join this community. And that's essentially what government's supposed to do. It's supposed to provide services. It's supposed to be run with taxes collected by people who we've elected from our similar situations. And the American government, left, right, red, blue, needs to be, this democratic experiment is over. Number one, Donald Trump's a fascist, but number two, it's all billionaires. I couldn't believe when I learned the other day, Marjorie Taylor Greene is worth $21 million. $21 million. What is that moron doing? That horse-legged woman doing? Like, she ain't worth, don't tell me she worked so hard to make $21 million. I know she wasn't worked out before she went into the government. They were all inside stock traders and corrupt politicians, all of them. From Biden to Kamala to Trump to Elon to J.D. Vance. And they're all trying to run a pyramid scheme on the people, And they're taking our taxes, and everyone who's elected is almost certainly a millionaire. And everyone who can afford to run to be in politics is very wealthy. And I'm telling you that as someone who ran in politics and had to ride my fucking son's bike around just to get the signatures. Like, they have the time, the money, the energy, the people to do that. So it's not a representative government. Tax wealth, not work. There we go, Mel. Put that on a t-shirt immediately. Mel, have you watched? I put the link down below. Gary's Economics. That is specifically a Gary's Economics saying. He came up with that, and I repeat it all the time. Because we need to tax these people that are sitting on billions of dollars, millions of dollars. They're not worried about the price of egg. They're not worried about rent going up. They're not worried about the gas prices. They don't give a shit because they have hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, and we need to tax that. I was just reading Jacobin, whatever you want to pronounce it. It's my favorite magazine, socialist magazine. And they said the government could recover $1.4 trillion from wealthy individuals in taxes. But instead, Donald Trump is trying to lay off 25,000 more IRS workers. And when the IRS doesn't have enough people, they can't go after the wealthy because the wealthy have all these lawyers, CPAs, different people to hide and finagle and fight and prolong their tax payments. And regular people, working people, don't have that. They don't have a team of lawyers that do their taxes, that can defend it or fight it or string it out in court. So they go after working people. That's why they're trying to lay people off. Tax wealth, not work. Hell yes. And yes, I mean, shit. I wouldn't want to put on a t-shirt because I didn't come up with that. You know, that's Gary's. Well, Gary's a wealthy dude. He's a trader who's now fighting for people to, you know, get wake up to what's going on. He's the one that came up. But Mel, I was talking about watching his channel. It is linked in the description. You'll see it right there in the description. First thing is after the infographics is Gary's Economics. It's just a video. I think it was a video he released last week. Please, Bandito, Mel, Alyssa, Joseph, I don't know how to put it into words how important listening to Gary is, because he's a guy who saw the extreme inequalities. He's the one who was a trader predicting, he was betting on the economy to get worse, and he knew why. And now he's left trading. He's been out of trading for 11 years now. And he's doing a YouTube channel. You've probably seen clips of him because he's getting clipped all over the internet because he's doing all these interviews. He went on Pierce Morgan. He's a very smart dude, and nobody has a rebuttal to him saying, we got to tax wealth, not work. And my favorite thing I've learned from him is something I've surmised that I've distilled out of his teachings, is that, you know, everyone talks about, no, we shouldn't change anything, or, you know, we don't need to tax people, or they call it theft of wealthy people, or you're just jealous, or they say all this shit. But the truth is like, we've been taxing wealthy people and their wealth less and less. Look it up, since the 40s. In the 40s and 50s, they were being taxed at 78 to 90%. Now, 37% if you're fucking lucky. Most of them are 22. Elon Musk admitted how much he paid in taxes, and it turned out it was like 3%. You know, these people are not being taxed, and they have extreme wealth. So it's not about jealousy. It's just about them paying their fair share. But more importantly is, like, if you look at something, smart people, wisdom comes from seeing something, right? Going, well, this didn't work. And we've been doing this since the 40s, letting them pay less and less taxes. And now here in 2025, people elected Donald Trump twice. They've crashed the stock market, fucking started wars with all of our allies. Canada, of all people, Denmark. I'm so pissed that they're like ruining our reputation. Like, fuck you, Donald. Some people would like to travel to other countries someday, you know? And now we got to be these asshole Americans. You got to, like, specifically, that's what we should do. We should start a brand that says, I didn't vote for that orange asshole. Asshat. So people just know, you know, just as proud as these maggots are, we should have our own brand. Gary, his channel is Gary's Economics. I don't know what his last name is. But I linked a video of his, and his YouTube channel is just called Gary's Economics, and he does great videos, amazing insights. But, you know, we've been trying this thing, just like trickle down, trick economics, just like deregulation, like all those things that they've been doing, they want more of, we've been doing, and we're here. We're in the worst scenario ever. You know what I mean? Like, people's pensions, 401ks, everything's getting wiped out. Even wealthy people, they're, you know, Barstool Sports guys, like, oh, lost $7 million. It's like, well, this is what you voted for, moron. You voted for the guy who bankrupted casinos, you know, and you thought he was brilliant. Sorry, Joe Rogan. Sorry, Barstool Sports. You guys supported this dude. What did you expect? Do you not understand? Like, he bankrupted a casino. He's not the art of the deal guy. You know, he's the guy who said, write me a book and call it The Art of the Deal. He's that clever. He's clever with fucking tricking people into thinking he's clever. That's his smart. His smart is, you think I'm smart. But if you look at all of his actions, just like if you look at our economy and what we've been doing deregulation. We've been gutting unions. We've been letting CEOs run everything. We've been, you know, they always wanted to run the government like a business. Well, here you are. They got a CEO in office again, and he did what? Layoffs, and fucking wiped out any kind of, you know, safety nets that people had. So here you go. Oh, man, definitely don't feel bad for the ones that are losing millions. I don't either, you know, because I'm like, oh, you lost 7 million? You're not broke. And it looks like you're still living in a nice house. There's a lot of us that are worried about, you know, the next meal. These fucking people. So yeah, Gary's Economics. You can just type in Gary's Economics on YouTube. You'll get a ton of clips, but I suggest go to his channel. I've tried to watch most of his videos because he's got keen insights, and I think he's one of my favorite people to lead Because there's no retort. You know, he said, I've been to the other side. I've seen how the wealthy act, behave, what they do. He was a trader. You know, he worked on the Wall Street in England or whatever it was. You know, I forget what it's called. And he's like, and I watched them destroy the economy. And he said, and I watched them think the economy was going to come back and not understand, because he came from a poor place, like why the recovery wasn't happening like it was. Or he's just got great insights. Voodoo Chili, great name. You should go to China. I would love to go to China. Shit. That's my favorite from these Americans. Well, you should leave then. Yeah, I'd fucking love to. You know how expensive it is? But more importantly, we have work here to do. I hate thinking that, you know, there's people that are just supporting fascism. Oh, and that's what I was going to say earlier. There are some people, and everybody probably knows someone like this, that like the rules, that like being told what to do. Whether you know them at work, you know them from school, you know them in your life, you know them in your family. There are just people who genetically, you know, they like that Trump tells them what to believe. They don't need to look something up. They just, Elon and Trump said it. It's got to be the truth. They're very rich. Why would they want to take money from me? There's like, that is a mindset. Like, these people are genetically engineered like that. Maybe that's how they should redo genetics. Have people fucking, is there a critical thinking gene? Because we should insert that into every baby. That's what I'm okay with. A critical thinking gene. When you go, I trust the guy who bankrupted casinos. He's the good guy for the economy. Yep, that guy. Like, we need to insert a critical thinking gene on people. Shrink the pituitary gland. Oh, I've seen some streamers watch Gary's Economics. Oh, yeah. Well, then you just have to watch him. We are having a gullibility crisis. There's a gullible on the ceiling. A what? But there are just people, and this is what, because, you know, I think about this a lot, because I'm like, there are people that are ravenous, like ready to just defend Trump, Elon. They come into my streams all the time. Bandito, Mel, they know. Alma knows. These people are just ravenous, and they'll defend it. And the thing is like, if you try to have a discussion with them, they don't really have answers. They just go to the next thing. You know, it's always like this, Bidenflation, Joe Brandon. You know, there's just like a bullet point list of like things that once they've can't answer one, they just topic jump. It's like Ben Shapiro, you know, let's say this, let's say this. And it's like, how about let's not say, and let's just discuss what's happening. Let's not say, and let's just, you know, tackle the topics at hand. Media literacy is a valuable skill, 100% Bandito. You know, and a lot of people don't know about the court case where Fox News was sued, and Fox News, in court documentation, you can look this up, admitted, they said, we're not a news channel, we're an entertainment channel. We do opinion pieces, like we're a joke. We're basically like Comedy Central, you know? Caroline, hello. Good to see you. Good to have you back. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I do news, commentary, newsmentary every weekday. But there are just some people in this life, and it's no fault of their own. That's how God made them. You know, it's hard for me to get mad at them, because I'm starting to realize, like, they're just, they crave, they're very insecure, you know? And I thought Joe Rogan wasn't like this, but more and more I learned he very much is. He's a very insecure man, and he likes the security of what he deems a more macho and masculine man, you know? He likes being just told something, not having to think, not critically think, not double check, just believing it and then going along with it. As long as he's not suffering, as long as it imposes no suffering on them. And then there are people that they'll endure the suffering silently, but they just like that authoritative figure. They need that kind of structure. And it's a very, very disheartening thing. But there are just people like that. There's nothing you can do, you know, and you can talk to them, but they'll deny it because it's in their genes. It's in their dungarees. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Oh, by the way, there was a study. This was very sad to read, and I put it down below. It's a Substack article where they talk about this Swedish observational study. And it talked about people over 65 years of age, the old folks. They should be retired, enjoying their golden years. And come to find out, they're more depressed than like most other segments of society. I don't know if that's true today. I think everybody might be facing a depression crisis. But this study that I linked down below was very fascinating because I didn't realize that old folks were getting prescribed antidepressants. I figured when you're old, maybe, well, no, I'm not that dumb. I talk to a lot of older people, especially when they're bagging or checking me out. And, I had this one lady said, this is my retirement. I have to work. I have to work at Target. And I was like, that's disgusting. The Target CEO should have to answer for that. Like, he should not fucking like that he's hiring old people that should be enjoying time with their grandkids or traveling or doing something. Like, this is disgusting to me that our society doesn't value young people. And if they did, we would do more to support young people and kids and not let them go hungry or live in poverty. Like some of the things that happened during the pandemic, these relief bills that brought 60% of people out of poverty or 60% of kids out of poverty. And how you treat old people, like our old people should just get to fucking chill, not have to work at Target or bag groceries or work at Walmart. And this study was saying that they were prescribed antidepressants and should they go to cannabis? And it was like this whole, based off data, should you be on depressants, so how it messes with your mind, and should you use cannabis? And I thought, well, of course they should be using cannabis. No, I mean, just to enjoy their old age. Just, if you're in a medical state, get a medical card. But I thought that's so depressed. Like, that depressed me to think that old people are so depressed. And I'm guessing it's not just the fear of death. It's like their situation, whether they're, can't afford food, can't afford these antidepressants, can't afford their life-saving medicines. And here we are in America, man, where Trump, Elon, they don't cherish old people. They don't care. And that's so, I mean, how do you feel about that? And I don't even have any old people in my family. I don't have, my grandparents died a long time ago. My parents died a long time ago. I don't even have like old people to really cherish. But I just know that there's like inherent value in them. Like, you need to at least, I don't know. Maybe I'm different, but I'd like to think more and more people. America is lit, like lit on fire. They just raised the retirement age. Yes, they did. That's right. And remember, this is how fucking pathetic America is. Remember when I think they did raise the retirement age in France. We need to get Doreen back on. And the people were out in the streets. Like the unions were showing up. The trash union showed up and was dumping the trash at the state capitol or the state house in France. Go look this up, because I was watching a girl who was live streaming and videoing stuff in Paris during all this. She was an American girl living in Paris. And I thought it was so fascinating at the solidarity between people in France. And they were like, you're going to mess with our old folks? F you. And they were in the streets. No, I'm not in Texas. I'm in New England. But it was so, it was hard to swallow that pill of like, old people are depressed. And Trump ain't doing anything to help them right now. I mean, I've spoken to some people who were trying to look to retire and have retired, and they lost a lot of money. And that ain't coming back anytime soon. That ain't a light switch. You could just change. If anything, did you see the news? I know I talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 getting its pre-order date was moved. And I guess one of the Nintendo CEOs, I don't know who it is this month. The CEOs are just a dime a dozen. They're just very rich people. They're rich kids that went to the elite schools to be trained to be CEOs. It's just like a cycle of richness. But the Nintendo CEO in America said, if you can't afford the Switch 2, they haven't released the price yet. But now with China's 100% tariffs back or whatever, like I was joking the other day, said the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be $700-800. The original price was supposed to be $449, and people were shocked. Now I think it's going to cost over $1,000. I could be wrong, but it might be $2,000. And the CEO in America of Nintendo came out and said, if you can't afford the Switch 2, just buy the first Nintendo Switch. And I thought, what, again? Like, the people who are excited for the Nintendo Switch 2 probably have a Nintendo Switch. And he's just, I mean, but that's how tone deaf these fucking people are, you know? And that's the great wealth inequality we have here. Ample thought. New videos coming soon. Nice. So it's really, really incredible that even like, you know, and pay attention when they say this stuff. When the Nintendo CEO in America is like, oh, you can't afford the Switch too? You're mad that it's going to cost $3,000? Then just buy the first Switch. It's like, bro, you're talking to your audience. You're talking to the Nintendo audience. I'm pretty sure they don't have a fucking Super Nintendo at home and they're playing the Nintendo Switch. Were you not alive during COVID? Like, everybody had a Switch. Wasn't Animal Crossing even featured on like Jimmy Kimmel? Very let them eat cake. Yes, Mel. Thank you. It's a totally, it's, you can't afford the Switch 2? Let them just have the Switch 1 again. It's like, bro, nobody, or not a lot of people that I know that are anticipating the Switch 2 are like, oh, I didn't get the first one. I'm jumping in at number 2. It's like there's a lot of people who want the second one because it's the upgraded version of what they already had. It's just insanity, man. Let them buy the Switch 1 again. Looking good. So that was another hilarious story. Trump also, I don't know how far it went into this. Trump was talking about Apple investing, I forget, 500 million, 5 billion, 5 trillion, 5 gadillion. What's after trillion? But how Apple was going to invest that much money here. And said, you know, they're going to bring a lot of jobs here. And I'm sure you've heard about this. Somebody in the live stream earlier this week or last week said, oh, Apple's already talking about bringing 20,000 jobs here. And it's like, number one, you know, Trump is gutting the NLRB. He's gutting workers' rights. He's putting a union buster to head the people who are supposed to be heading workers' rights and seeing out those cases. So they're trying to make sweatshop jobs. They're trying to rob you of all your rights if you work for a living. They're trying to, I think, did they get rid of... They are a cotillion. Yeah, well, that might actually be it. But not only do we not have the workforce here, but Trump is a guy, I just want to remind people, that if he really believed in we'd be able to make iPhones here, he would make his merch here. He would, Trump, if he thought we could make, on. Am I back? Am I frozen, Bandito? Bandito, can you see me? I don't know what just happened. My phone keeps... They don't even make these phones to last. Why would we want to make them here? Now I'm back. Okay. Thanks, Em. Love you, Em. Good to see you. There is no plan. Gary. So Gary's Economics. Listen, I want to tell you one more thing about Gary's Economics because I highly encourage everybody to watch. I put a link down in the description. Good to have you back, Alyssa. $2 billion thanks to tariffs. What? $2 billion wiped out? I think it was actually like 6 trillion wiped out from the stock market. But Gary's Economics, he talks about, he says, you know, I've been around very wealthy people. And he says, when wealthy people say something, you have to ask yourself, what are they trying to convince me of? And Gary, when he speaks about working with wealthy people, and I've got to work with some wealthy people, not as wealthy as he has, but he says, wealthy people, you have to understand. He said, the reason Trump and Elon lie so much and lie about obvious things like being a professional gamer, you know, that they're good businessmen, or today Trump was saying like, oh, many countries are coming and kissing my ass to cut a deal. And it's like, no, they're not. China's issuing warnings to its citizens not to travel to the U.S. and retaliatory tariffs. Same with the EU. Like, the reason they lie so much, he said, Gary's Economics says, you know, from what he's garnered, his life wisdom, he said, because rich people usually just have an agenda. So they don't have moralities. They don't have character. They don't have a spine. they just have an agenda, you know, whether it's to consolidate power, to consolidate wealth, to have more wealth and power, to set their children up. He said, you know, you got to think about it from this aspect. He said, because their lies are very obvious at this point, you know, easily disprovable. Look at Elon Musk. Who was I watching? There was somebody who was typing in, oh, Thunderfoot. Thunderfoot was using Elon Musk's own AI, Grok AI, to type in who's the biggest misspreader of information. And Elon's own AI was like, Elon Musk spreads the most misinformation. And Gary said the reason they do that is because they have an agenda. So they don't care. They could get caught a million times. Look at Elon Musk trying to live stream playing video games the other day and people just coming after him. You know, they don't care because their agenda is more wealth, more power, you know, things of that nature, to quote a South Carolina Miss America contestant. And such. Thank God for Krasnov and the K-hole Kaiser. But so Gary's economics is, I mean, it's just great insights. I highly encourage you guys to please watch Gary. And some more news, just dropped a new video all about the economy and what GDP actually is, how it's a horrible measure for things. And it's funny because now some more news, things are happening, things are sucking so much quicker now that some more news is even having to put edits at the front of their videos saying like, hey, we dropped this, we wrote this before this happened, so forgive us if things are a little bit off on here. Oh, I forget what else I had for news today. This economy sucks though, and I hope you're doing well. I hope, you know, I feel bad for all those people who are retiring, just retired, which I know some, and I'm so angry at it because, you know, for the wealthy people to not, it's just such a show of character. You know, if you're okay and you can't care or support or speak out or, you know, just lend yourself to people who are more vulnerable, it shows what a lack of character you have. And there are people that, you know, are hurting because of these actions. And it's horrific. This country is just a joke, an absolute joke. Orange Monday happened, 6 trillion wiped out, people's retirement, people, you know, people are just, even the fucking cogs of the Donald machine. Barstool Sports was whining about losing 7 million, you know? Like, it ain't good and it's gonna get worse, so hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, go watch Hassan and check out Gary's economics. I linked the video down below. Everything I talked about I linked. My name is Rob. I do news commentary. I thank you guys for joining me. Bandito, good to see you. Ample, good to see you. Mel, Alma, M, love you guys. Peace.